what does the word gutsy mean to you?
The word gutsy. Hmm. I love this. I didn't know you were going to do this. This is fun. Gutsy to me is intuition that you have within your body that's telling you that it's this pull that you feel like. I feel like life every once in a while just gives you these like pulls and these feelings that you get. And I think gutsy is being so in tuned with that you're like, I'm going to do that. I think gutsy is both things. I think it's a feeling, but I think gutsy also shows that there has to be action within it because in order to be gutsy, gutsy is this like description of like everyone can describe it this. I was gutsy enough to do this. I was gutsy enough to ask her on a date or to reach out to them or to text this person or to like gutsy is such a beautiful like carries this like it was willing to have whether I was afraid or scared or nervous or whatever it was, I said fuck it and I did it anyway.
Welcome to the Gutsy Podcast, the show where you learn how to own what you actually want and shift the mind junk that's been holding you back. I'm Laura Ora, keynote speaker, coach, and your guide to help you get clarity, build confidence, and make the gutsy moves that change your life. Each week, I'm going to help you simplify things by teaching you how to get out of your head while stepping into action. This way you can achieve all those life shifts that you've been overthinking. Your desire, that drives you. But gutsy, that's what gets it done. If you've been living with chronic migraines, you know firsthand how painful and discouraging it is to be told that, hey, everything looks fine. Take this pill. This is part of your life. And yet you're struggling to do everyday tasks leading up to, during, and even after the migraine episode. Listen, as a fellow migraine sufferer, I'm here to tell you that we do not have to settle. We must be like water and find another way by advocating for our own health and quality of life. Today, we're talking to the Migraine Doc from TikTok, Dr. Brandon Brown, about alternative methods to managing and overcoming, yes, overcoming those migraines. He's helped thousands of women go from daily or weekly migraines to living migraine-free, so that phrase had my full attention. Dr. B, also known as the Migraine Doc on TikTok, is a trusted expert in helping women find natural, lasting relief from migraines using a unique approach he calls the Migraine Relief Blueprint. He empowers women to reclaim their energy, clarity, and well-being, and is on a mission to guide these overwhelmed women towards a migraine-free life so they can thrive, both at home and in life. Now, listen, one thing we've got to work on as we are advocating for our own health is also our mindset. It's very easy to get discouraged and to stop doing things, and especially when that overthinking starts to get loud, gosh, we can just stop ourselves before we even get started. That's why I have created a very simplified process to help you overcome those negative thoughts in the moment so you're not stopping yourself. Instead, you're moving towards the thing that you actually want. It's called the Power Back process, and it's something that you can do standing in the line at the grocery store, prepping for a meeting, or even as you're just facing your own fork in the road on a daily basis. This method will help you go from hesitating to moving towards the thing that you want. So go to lauraora.com/foundations and put in your email. I will immediately send you the first of 5 audios where I'm going to teach you this process, and you can use it unlimitedly in all different types of life situations. Okay, listen, today's episode is near and dear. I've had chronic migraines for 10 plus years, and I've not yet found a solution. So I am in this with you. You're definitely going to want to stick around because towards the end of this episode, Dr. B also gives us some very tangible things that we can do to help prevent migraines, to strengthen our nervous system, and ultimately to improve our quality of life. So let's get into it. Dr. B, welcome to the Gutsy Podcast, my friend.
Oh my gosh, I've been looking forward to this. The amount of times of, hey, we're gonna do this, and then I submit it the wrong way through your website and all the
Hey, you know what? We made it here. We're here, and I am just as stoked to have this conversation. I saw that you were on my schedule today, and I was like, "Fuck yes, this is it." So, long story short, for the listeners, Dr. B and I connected on TikTok.
Mhm.
I'm a longtime migraine sufferer. He popped up one day with like, "Hey, I understand you. I can help you. You don't have to live like this for the rest of your life." And I was like, "Please tell me more." We've had lots of great conversations. We're finally meeting face to face virtually here for the first time in like real life. And we're going to talk about fucking migraines today.
I know. I love it. What's funny is I think back to like, especially when I know someone or I've got to meet with them and I'm like, we've connected before, and just the way my fantastical brain works, I'm like, the first time we chatted was literally me walking through Target with my family. And I was
Yes.
just like, oh, hey, I'm gonna hop on this call. And we're just like talking while I'm walking around Target. And I always imagine what people think when they're like, the hell is this guy talking about? And to be honest, sometimes I'm like, I hope someone who needs my help is just eavesdropping. And they're like, hey, this sounds weird. I know we're at Target, but I just heard you mention something about migraines. I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, being in the right place at the right time. I think that's one of the coolest things about you is that you're just so approachable and you just so deeply understand. I mean, I actually feel a little bit teary-eyed thinking about it because if you're listening to this right now, I'm going to guess it's because you're either currently suffering with migraines or you've also been a long time. Usually, this journey is not a couple of weeks, it's months and decades. For me, it's 10 plus years. So if you're listening to this, I know it's really easy to feel like nobody freaking listens. Everyone tells me that I'm okay. I'm not okay. And that's the thing that drew me to you so quickly, was that like you stopped basically what you're doing outside of walking around Target, and you listened and you understood and you gave me suggestions. And I think that in this community specifically, it's an underrated gift. So thank you for what you do and how you do it.
You're very welcome. That's the old adage or way that you say it is that I have a really good bedside manner as a doctor. I think I've had my older patients tell me that of like they appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I think literally my God-given gift is just the ability to connect with people and to hear them out and to have empathy for their situation. It's taken me many years to not carry that all the time with me afterwards. I've definitely, in
Mm,
doing my own work and improving my own emotional maturity and just my going through my own healing has allowed me to be able to hold space safely for people and not feel like I have to carry their burdens. I think in the beginning, I know that what you've carried is so heavy and it's a lot for you to carry. And I know how difficult that is. And you feel like you've done it alone and it leaves you frustrated and pissed off. And you just go from person to person and you really feel like the system has screwed you over. And I'm with you. So, the fact that God made me a large human being, I feel like, oh, it's my job. I'm the person who carries stuff. So I'm like, I would just start carrying everyone's things. And what I had to realize was that's actually not my job. My job is to actually show you the things that you either need to carry or, more honestly, the things that people need to let go of that aren't serving and taking care of them anymore, that are old things and old stories that they've been told. Like the thing that always fascinated me as I've learned more working with people and diving into this is like there's so much more that's tied up in this than just, oh, you have pain in your head. There's emotions, there's past history of relationships or losses or things that you've gone through that we store and hold on to, and we suppress them and push them down, and we shove them in our knee or in our back or and we just put them somewhere else. And then we wonder why we're in pain all the time, and we wonder why we are not happy, and we wonder why we are struggling, and we wonder why no one can help us. And my job sometimes is to restore that connection so that you're not just a head walking around with a body. Like I see a lot of people that just have this disconnect because it's hard to get into that stuff because you're like, it's just be easier to not fucking feel this shit. So I'd rather just not.
right.
And I'm like, I get that. But instead of turning away every time we get right up to the edge of where we're most afraid, if you would just run through that shit as fast as you can, you would be on the other side like that quickly. And you'd be like, whoa, where am I? And I'm like, just take a second, just breathe it in. There's an experience that comes from that. And if I hadn't decided to go, down this journey and start doing this, and then even go on my own healing journey that I had to go through at 33 years old that I never expected either, it it was very eye-opening to me because for me it's like I can get very the best description is mechanistic. You take this, it's like working on a car. You take this, you unscrew this, you do it's like working on bodies can get very mechanistic, but there's also a energetic and spiritualistic side of your experience as a human that I think we as healers really struggle to tap into because there's not a lot of, it's very woo woo is the best term to put it into. There's not a lot of, oh, we can put hard facts and data behind this. It's like, no, my intuition just told me that we needed to sit down and talk today, not that you needed a treatment from me in tune enough in order to experience that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's you talk about the woo woo piece, something that came up as you were saying that. I feel like, what if that's been, and this is a theoretical question, we could go down a different rabbit hole. We don't need to go down, but I just wonder, what if that's just been blanketed as this like weirdo mystical thing when that's actually really just the answer?
Yeah.
You know, listening to our bodies, listening to our gut, acting on what we're feeling. Sometimes it's a lot more simplistic than what we are taught that it is.
You nailed it.
We're taught to go outside of ourselves. We're taught to trust other people. We're taught that what we're thinking or feeling is not valid. It's not scientific. It's not this. It's not that. And I'm not discounting science. We need that shit. Okay. But when it comes down to stuff like this, sometimes the best medicine that we can take is trusting our own self.
And that gets hard when you've been sick.
Yeah. Very, and for long periods of time.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of brought up your journey, and I was hoping that we could kind of go down that path if you're open to it. You had a really unique, scary ass experience. Would you be willing to share what happened with you and your experience with migraines as a result of it?
Yes. So, I definitely leaned a lot more in my early time in my practice of like, you don't have to experience what your patients have experienced in order to be able to help them. I always tell people my first migraine patient was my wife. My wife used to struggle with migraines. And what she used to always say was like, I thought I was going to be the lady that you carry my purse around, and when you shake it, it's going to make a bunch of noise because there's all these bottles of all these things that I have to take because this is just what I have to, how I have to live. This is how my life is going to be. And so obviously now we've been married almost 13 years. I'm so grateful that I got that and, the family that we're building and all that we've gotten to go through and be literally best friends. I'm super grateful for that aspect of things. But there was my own, like, I've never really dealt with this. And it's like, you don't have to deal with it in order to be able to explain it. But I did get the joy of going through my own experience. And I'll even kind of take it back a step further. Like, to go, because I feel like we kind of joked about before this, like the direction of wherever it goes. There's a lot of information right now that I think almost causes the paralysis analysis where people just don't know what to do because there's so much information coming at them. And my thing is like, I think intuitively you really know if you're meant to work with someone like me or someone like you, or if that's like you get this, like, I feel like I'm supposed to work with that person. I get that sometimes too. And I'm like, I just pray. I'm like, hey, give me an opportunity or the ability to connect with that person because I think there's something there. My coach always says there's a reason that you would collide or cross paths with someone, but if you're not ready, that person's going to have to continue to potentially suffer or go on or look down a different route or have to wait until you're ready. So he's like, it's always on you, and the onus is on you to be ready at that time when someone shows up. So for me, I never really, I mean, I'm what you would consider a super emotional being for a man. Like men aren't supposed to be emotional. Like I've been that way my whole life. My dad used to always be like you don't need to get so worked up. You need to remove the emotion from it. And that to me is like asking me to remove my brain. It would never, I can't function that way. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I feel like I've never had any issue, and nor do I want my daughters to ever be like, I've never seen my dad cry. My daughters have seen me cry over dogs dying, over frustrations and things like that. Like, I want them to understand that a man can have all levels of emotion and that that's actually necessary. I mean, you can probably relate to this. One of the things in my experience, and I have a friend of mine, she talks about this too, and I'm like, we can relate, is men tend to express anger as suppressed sadness. So it's like, why is he so angry? Because ultimately he's hurt deep down, and no one's ever showed him how to process it or that those feelings are valid or that they matter. And so he didn't know what to do with it. So he either goes and golfs or plays video games or has a hobby that he disassociates with, or he's angry all the time, or a combination of both. And the problem is deep down, he's really hurt on a level that he even has a hard time expressing, and he's not quite sure what to do. Now, for women, it can be the same, but a lot of times women express sadness as suppressed anger because as a female, there's a certain energy that you're supposed to express. And if that's not motherly and loving and gentle and soft, you're not told what to do with that. Dads are supposed to do this, moms are supposed to do this, and this is how it goes. And it's like, no. Kids are the perfect example for this. Like, be around a kid, happy, sad, glad, like happy, mad, sad. And it's this triangle that they go through because they're an unencumbered nervous system. They have no restrictions on how their nervous system functions, and they can be angry and upset as possible to break it down in tears to as happy as they could ever be, just like that. And I'm not here to tell you like to just have your emotions going everywhere all the time. That's not what I'm saying. What I would ask you is, why are you feeling that way? And a lot of times for women, they haven't been allowed to safely express the anger that they felt. And a lot of times when we dive into it, the anger, the sadness that comes out as anger actually comes out as, I don't feel safe, and there's a lack of safety in something that happened, or they feel scared, or it was a relationship, or the way that their parents handled certain situations. And so they were never allowed to actually be themselves. And so sometimes they don't even like, there's just a radical disconnect. I don't even know how to answer that. I wouldn't even know where to start when it comes to that. And I'm like, well, no wonder you're in pain all the time. No wonder you have fibromyalgia, which is pain all over your body that nobody knows where it's coming from and we can't explain it. No wonder you're feeling these aches and pains. Your body is literally just a cluster of all these things that you've held on to that are like burning hot coals that you're like, well, I've just sort of suppressed it away and it's okay. It doesn't hurt that bad. And it's like, yeah, but it's hurting you. Just let go of it. Well, I don't want to. Well, it's not serving you anymore. We just get in these ugly, ugly cycles. So for me, as a person who considered myself what I thought was tapped into my emotions and emotionally intelligent, I learned that that was not the case. Um, so at 33, my parents, I found out my stepmom and my dad got a divorce, and I found out through my sister, who's my younger sister. So I'm an oldest sibling. So I'm classic oldest sibling. I take care of everyone else. Hello, here's the thing. Don't think of the things that make you who you are as a burden. They're a gift that you get to share with the world, but just don't let them become your identity. Don't let them describe you as the thing. It's like, oh, well, I'm the protector and I take care of everyone. It's like, I am that, but I'm so many more things than this. It doesn't ultimately define who I am forever. So when I found that out, I got frustrated because I'm like, why do I have to be the fucking parent in this situation? It's pissing me off. It's not my job. I'm running a business and I have kids and a family, and I don't want to have to fucking deal with this. And so at the time I didn't, but I tricked myself. All I did was just go, fuck that shit and push it down. And over time, it built and it built and it built and it ate away at me. And I was moving my business and I got sick. There was just so much stuff that really started to come to the surface. And I, for the first time in my life, was having anxiety and panic attacks. And I had never experienced any of that before. And I learned very quickly it's not just a motivational quote or a getting up and moving your ass that's going to change that. It's scary. Waking up every morning with my stomach feeling like it's on fire, hyperventilating, and terrified of the day and what's going on, and being at my office by myself, being alone, which I come to find out as I dug into it and worked with my coach who helped me. Being alone is a big fear that I have, but I was a kid who took care of myself while my parents worked. So here's the thing, you probably see this and everyone's like, we have parents that are like, you want to blame me. It's always my fault because of stuff that I did. It's not your fault. I actually think that you did the best that you could with what you had. And I know my parents worked hard to provide the lifestyle that they wanted for me and to take care of me. But that doesn't change the way that I experienced and what I went through. So your invalidation of how I feel is part of the problem because we get invalidated. I don't give a shit about how you feel. You always, there's people can probably relate, and I hope they're like, holy shit, this sounds like me. It's like my parents always make it about them. It's always about them. It can never be about me and what I'm dealing with. So I had a lot of, oh my God, like, where is this coming from? And so fortunately, I found a friend of mine, Brian Bogert, who was a coach of mine for a while, that helped me through this. And I mean, we would do 15-minute sessions and I would be exhausted and crying and all these things after them. And it was like, it was the best healing that I could have ever done because it was also stuff that I was interested in and wanted to help people with. But I learned so much about, holy shit, there are so many layers to this. And the more pain we go through, the more we put up defensive walls, and the stronger we make those walls, and the thicker we make them, and the more spikes that we add to them, and the more distance we put between them. Because if I put my walls up, I can protect myself, and then I'm safe. And what we don't realize is, so from a migraine trigger standpoint, I think migraine triggers are bullshit, but emotional triggers I think are very real. And so if you said you're lazy or you're ugly or you're stupid or you're whatever, those are emotional triggers that immediately will cause your defense to go up because it's like, nope, I have to protect myself. I have to keep myself safe. And this happens a lot in relationships and family. It happens in relationships that you have in a marriage. You have to learn. One of the things I had to learn was like, hey, when you say that, it triggers me to feel this way. And this is why I'm responding in this way. Because it makes me feel, it hits a thing for me that makes me feel less than, or that I'm not doing this, or that I'm not. And it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Like when I first got married, I was like, go away from me. I need alone time. I need distance. Just give me time to calm down. I don't need that as much anymore because it doesn't mean that there aren't moments where I'm just like, hey, just give me a minute. But it's like I've figured out that regulation a little bit better. And I've tried to tie a little bit of that into the things that I do in my office because sometimes I realize the thing that's holding people back is a mental emotional barrier that is blocking them, that's keeping them from actually being able to get better. They actually associate and resonate now more with the pain in their body and the label that has become that's who I am. I'm anxiety, I'm depression, I'm migraine, I'm, whatever issue they have going on, rather than no, this is who you are, but this is what you're experiencing. We just need to show you where potentially that's coming from. I think emotional maturity is one of the things that I've told my wife I want to make sure that our children have, because I think in a relationship that they have in the future, it will have the greatest impact in how their marriage is going to go. Because I'm sure it's not 100% of perfect days or 99% of perfect days. It's like, no, there are shit times and shit moments and shit happens, but it's how I get to choose how I respond to this. And to the extent that I'm capable of handling it is where that comes from. Now, the beautiful part of like where my work comes in is that's where your neurological bandwidth that you can handle, there's only so much that your nervous system can handle. And as we expand that bandwidth, there's so much more that your body can handle. How come I'm so triggered easily? Because you're bouncing against walls that are this close together, and it only takes a little bit to go just outside of bounds. And you're like, fuck this shit, I'm done. Like, it's very easy to get there versus, okay, having an understanding, cooling the jets a little bit, figuring out a way of like, okay, how can I regulate myself back to a place that's like, because most of the time you realize it's us against a problem. It's not me versus you. It's not, when we get into that, it's like a rule in my marriage. We don't speak in absolutes. You always do this. You never do this. It's like, that's not true. We know that's not true. We're just getting heated in the moment and we're trying to sling these things that are they're not actually true. It's the ways that we've been taught and that we mimic of this is how we handle certain things. And so I'm sure you've heard what is it, the breaking generational curses. I think that's very common now. In my marriage, I think I've done a lot of that, but I think that's just a really cool thing to say. But if it lacks action and effort in like what you're actually wanting to do, what good is that doing you? Like that then does turn into a blame game where it's like that just does us no good.
Well, and it's a cycle. I mean, that's a never ending cycle. And you want to talk about holding on to things in your body. I mean, that you're just creating compound thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And that stuff stacks up on top of one another. And then somebody blows up and you're in a shit situation it's hard to get out of. And if gone too long, not reversible,
Yeah.
you know?
These are things that you have to factor in when you're looking for a partner. Like the most important person I've seen this recently going around social media, and it's so true. The most important person is the person that you marry or in a relationship with because you will spend the most time with them. They will either lift you up or tear you apart. And you determine what that looks like. And there's a level of, I used to think that it was my job to make you happy, and now I realize that it's my job to support you and create space and make sure I'm the healthiest that I can be.
Yeah.
Because when you're not, I can hold space for you. And then we do this inverse in order to love and support one another because that's what we need. Um, I think Alex Hormozy talks about it. He's like, if you wanted to build the perfect human that was going to be resilient and strong and successful, you wouldn't make their life easy. You would actually put them through challenges to make them stronger. So, short story long,
I would like to vote that I have learned what I needed to. I'm good now. Like
you're like, hey,
it's been 40 years. I'm good. Like I think I got all the information I needed. I know that's not true, but I'd like to say that out loud.
listen, it's always just fun lessons that get repeated until we're ready to move on to the next
Well,
thing
you know,
and level up.
and I'm thinking about the stuff that you were saying about, that kind of compound trauma, unreleased emotions, not feeling safe. Gosh, that's so familiar, very close to home. And I think about, this is just one individual path and journey. I think about, I'm 40. The first 39 years of my life were trauma filled, right? Lots of challenges in all different aspects, lots of challenges, especially as a young girl in the house that I grew up in. And I can't help but think sometimes, because I know that this is going to ring true for a lot of people, I've done every test under the freaking sun, and everything comes back, quote unquote, normal. Maybe a little bit of this here, a little bit of that there. And thank goodness, I will knock on wood and thank the universe. There's nothing actually really big wrong, right? No tumors, there's no cancer, right? Like these big things.
That is great.
I'm so grateful for that. And I don't want to dismiss that by any means. And two things can be true. I still feel like shit on a daily basis.
Exactly.
So I think about, you've gone through all of these tests and all these things, and everyone tells you that you're normal and try this pill and try that injection and do this thing. And it's like, I'm not getting anywhere, but I'm also processing things. But I can also see and understand in what you're saying that there's probably more layers, right? What I just made a TikTok about this the other day. I'm like, when you feel like you finish the onion and it's like, just kidding, there's a whole other layer. Like, there's another fucking layer.
And there's a lot of those.
Are you seeing a lot of that? Like lots of tests, all this, you're normal, everything's fine, but like people come in and say everything's fine, and yet I'm not fine.
But I'm going to tell you basically your story almost to a T, probably 90% of the way there. And if I got it right, you got to come on over here and just put like a raise your hand emoji. Do the old raised hand emoji. That's one of my favorites. So here's the thing. Depending on when it happened, because for everyone it's different. And if you're younger, it was probably more difficult because kids sort of get, you're a kid, you'll be fine. This is the precedent that has been said of like, you're fine, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Rub some dirt on it. It'll be okay. So when you're a kid, it could be a little bit more difficult because they're not quite sure what label to put on it. But more than likely, at some point, you had had some head pain or headaches or whatever it was that was going on, just something that felt off and abnormal. And you were like, this just kind of feels weird. We don't know. We could just do some over-the-counter stuff for it, ibuprofen, Tylenol every once in a while. And then what happened was, holy shit, you had one that was so bad it put you in the hospital. And you were like, am I dying? Am I having a stroke? What the hell is going on? You went to the hospital and they got you checked in and they maybe did a CT or an MRI or some testing and they gave you the three most disempowering words that you could ever hear. It's just a migraine. Just a migraine. It's just a migraine. We're going to give you this fantastic little cocktail of a mix here. Basically, it's like an IV of a triptan. We're going to put this in there, and this will be the thing that takes care of it, and you'll be all right. All the while you're going, holy hell, that was the scariest thing that I've ever experienced in my life. I thought something was going on with me. Maybe you fainted. Maybe you couldn't talk right. Maybe you were losing vision in one of your eyes. There were all sorts of things neurologically that were going on in your body, and it freaked you the hell out. So naturally, you probably set up an appointment with your primary care, but you also probably started doing research online. Well, you're looking at this and online can be scary and it's like it's either cancer and a brain tumor or it varies in what is it? Like how big of a scale is it to, what extreme? So then you get to your primary care and they're like, well, here's what we're going to do. I want you to start taking a diary. You're going to cut out all the things that you love. You don't get any more bread, chocolate, coffee. We're just going to make sure that we're eliminating these things that could be triggers because that's on you. They might tell you that you need to lose weight. They're definitely going to tell you to drink more water. And they're going to tell you, I can't prescribe you any migraine specific medications because the insurance has me handcuffed and I can't do anything without them. They're the ones who pay for my family and to take care of them in my vacations. So there's nothing that I can do except for what they have determined that I dictate, which isn't by someone who has a medical education, but it's by someone that potentially has no education and just determined based on a set of symptoms and statistics that you get to be seen this many times for this or due to this. And this is how they deem it necessary because that's what they're willing to pay for. That's the first big load of bullshit that will really piss you off. Then we have to go through the standard of things that you have to get: blood pressure medications, anti-seizure medications, antidepressants that you might get put on first. And if those fail and cause you to gain 40 pounds or cause you to feel even worse or gain other symptoms, well, that's okay. We'll just kind of play around with this until we figure something out. And then, you know what? It's probably time that we set you up for an appointment with a neurologist. You should do that. Well, neurologists unfortunately are overworked, and there are some great ones out there, but no offense, just like in my profession, there's some shitty ones out there. So you may wait a couple months if you're lucky, but sometimes you may wait up to 2 years in order to get in to see the specialist, which is a long time to continually be dealing with the frequency of migraines that you're having. Maybe it's still once a month, but when they do, they last for days and it's scary. Or maybe you're getting them every 3 days, or maybe it's every day to some varying level. But now you're sitting there going, holy hell. So you're maybe trying some holistic things. You started taking magnesium because you heard that was the thing, and some CBD, and we're doing these other things to try to help. And it's like maybe a little bit, but we're not quite sure. And because we've thrown 15 things at this, we really don't know. But now you're excited and hopeful because you got an appointment with the person who's the specialist that's supposed to be there to help you with this. And you sit down and hopefully you got time with the doctor, but you might not have even had time with the doctor. You spent most of the time with the assistant or the nurse practitioner. And they told you basically the same shit that you already knew, all the research that you had done. You felt like you knew more about the situation than they did. They didn't help educate you on anything. They didn't tell you other potential things that you would look into. They just said, hey, this is what's going on. You have migraine. We've already ruled these things out through tests. We're not going to do any more testing. We might if we haven't done it before. But when we do, it's going to come back clear or normal. And they're like, hey, congratulations, your test came back clear. Great. Why do I feel like shit still? Why am I on top of this having blood pressure issues? Why am I having digestive problems? Why am I having IBS? Why am I having pain all over my body? Why am I having dizziness issues that are going on? Why am I having problems with my jaw? All these things that you're going to start looking into, and you're like, I can't piece any of this together. Now you're more frustrated. So it's like, well, maybe I need to go to another one. All the while, you have essentially done what I call you've been put on the medical merry-go-round and you cannot get off of it. And it's the one that's got all the fun animals. We have a tiger and a zebra and a horse and a lion. And guess what? You can ride on whichever one of those you like, but you can't get off the ride because you have migraine now and you're on here. Migraine is a rapid depolarization of the brain. Bullshit. We've already determined that's bullshit, but that will still be pushed out by doctors that have not upped themselves on their education or stayed current with what is going on or have looked at this in any other way. So they focus very heavily on your brain. It's a brain problem. It's a brain problem. It's a brain issue.
As you're planning to strengthen your body and your nervous system so that we can overcome these damn migraines, we've also got to build our self-confidence and belief from the inside out. Look, I am unapologetically deeply passionate about helping women to get out of their own way, to own what you really want, and then to take steps towards that. And part of being able to do that is to have the right tools in your tool belt so you know how to get out of your own way when that pesky brain wants to start overthinking and shutting down. I created a clear and simple method that's going to allow you to reframe your thoughts in the moment, get regrounded in the thing that you actually want, and then have the ability to lean in, to take steps towards that, even if it's a small step. This, my friend, is what I call a gutsy move. So if you want to learn this method, I'm telling you, you can use it in any and every life situation that you feel like you're overthinking or hesitating. If you're questioning yourself or your abilities, or you're just kind of feeling stuck. And most importantly, you are ready to do something about it, then go to lauraora.com/foundations. If you put in your email, I will send you the first of 5 audios that's going to teach you this method that will change your world. Again, lauraora.com/foundations, or if you scroll down, the link is also in the show notes.
Could never have anything to do with your brainstem. That would be fucking crazy, even though all your life centers are in there. You have 3 sections. They control so many functions that when there's dysfunction in your brainstem, it shows up as the symptoms that you're experiencing. And this is where we go back to your body's really fucking smart and knows what it's doing and wants to help you, but it can't keep giving you clues that you ignore. Because all the while you were going to those appointments, you said, my neck is really bothering me too. Every time I get an attack, my neck gets really tight. And this is for like 90%. It's not for everyone. It's like my neck always hurts me. I always have pressure. I feel like I can't move. My neck feels super stiff. I get these like crinkly cracklies as I move. I feel like I'm losing my range of motion. I feel stiff. I get worse after I work out. I feel like barometric pressure changes and weather changes hit me. Temperature changes. I can't do this. I can't get cold. I can't get hot. All this shit starts happening. And it's this holy cluster F storm of what the hell am I supposed to do here? Then you start doing the really crazy stuff. You travel to South America, like some of my patients have done, and you get this like hook you up to the machine and rack and do all these things to you. And oh, we're going to get stem cells treatments, which not that that's a bad thing. Stem cells is actually great science that's coming about, but that's not necessarily always going to be the thing that is going to fix it. And I hope that you raise your hand because I guarantee you that sounds like you. But when we tell that story, you said something earlier that to me is a principle of how I do what I do in my clinic. Simplicity wins, and if it gets complex, we messed it up and we've gone too far. Even in our blood testing, we still keep it very simplistic. We may have a lot of things that we look at, but I can tell you based on what we're looking at with those, what protocols and where we're going to go when it comes to that. What things we're going to do that are simplistic and they're typically natural. It's usually through supplements, it's not through medication. I can't recommend that anyway. But when we start losing the trusting our body, because here's the thing, I'm here to advocate for you. If your doctor sucks and if you've gone to them and they continue to offer you bullshit that you're not happy with the results, then you fire their ass. Because if I hired someone to come in and paint the wall and I said I want it white and it ended up a different color, then I would be like, well, that person didn't know what the hell they were talking about. It's gray. I told you white, dude. And it's like, guess what? You wouldn't be like, well, it's gray. It's like, it's okay. No, you knew exactly what you wanted. There's no problem with asking for exactly what you want. Ask for what you want and get it. You hired them for your health. No one cares about your health more than you. I get it. They're a doctor. I care about you a lot. I'm probably the closest one that cares almost as much as you do, but no one's going to be as responsible or care about it as much as you. So you have to be the one that's going to advocate for yourself. And my biggest challenge would be that you have an open mind and not just discount stuff because I know what's going to happen. Hey, I saw this guy on TikTok and he talked about this thing, functional nervous system testing. Well, that's bullshit because I've never heard of it. Ask them real questions about it because they're not going to know anything. You know why? Because you know who created functional nervous system testing? Me, this guy. It's not what it's actually called, it's what I call it because it connects to my audience. Oh, I need a test of my nervous system functionally because everything else has not figured it out. Maybe this is the thing. Once we do that, that allows us to determine what the hell is going on. But for the doctor that you're trying to go to trust to just immediately discount and say stuff is bullshit, that's a red flag for me. No, 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 no. I'd rather you stay here because every single month for whatever, when you buy these things, they're making money off of that. And I have no problem with people making money. I have a problem with people making money on something that's not supporting you in the results that you want to get. Now, if you're happy with the results that you're getting, that's fantastic. But I'm here for the vast majority of other people that say what you said. I still feel like shit. I have brain fog. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I'm dizzy. My eyes hurt. I can't sleep. That's not how you're meant to function. And what I'm here to tell you is that your body's been giving you clues. Hello, that pain up here is your body, which we've already talked about, you should listen to and be in tune with, is giving you clues of what the heck is going on. But we keep ignoring it over and over. We talk about content on social media. One of my big things right now on my TikTok is like migraines are cervicogenic. I believe that most, not all, but most are cervicogenic, meaning they come from your neck. There's an issue that is going on with your neck that is, it's not something crazy. It's just the slightest little misalignment that's going on there. And we know that when that happens, that impacts the cerebrospinal fluid, the fluid that sits around your brain and spinal cord, because it's out of positioning. So that fluid can't move. That's also going to impact what's called your lymphatic system. It's your glial cells. They clean up all the metabolic waste inside of your brain. If that fluid's not flowing and that's not moving, then we just have buildup that's going around. We also know that blood flow to the brain is impacted between the vertebral arteries and then the circle of Willis that sits on the front part of your brain. All that feeds blood to your brain. When we have ischemic attacks of the brain, that's where a lot of these symptoms start to come from. Then we also know that that's going to cause irritation and inflammation to that area. It's going to impact the efficacy of your nerves and the signaling that they're going to have. That then is going to cause an increase in how my vagus nerve is stimulated and what it does. It's this, I can get into the complexities of this, but it needs to be simplified to functional nervous system scan. Do we have a nervous system issue? Through x-rays, biomechanical or motion x-rays or 3D, CBCT, can we figure out exactly what it is that's causing that? And then through a very simple, specific, gentle adjustment, can we work to correct that over time so that you don't have to have migraines? Because I get it. People are like, holy shit, this guy's talking about stuff I've never heard of. But I'm like, it's that simple. Scan, X-ray, adjust only when necessary, and continue to scan to make sure that we're making the improvements that we want. Have an objective measure that allows us to see and know exactly what it is that's going on, because this is what's going to give you your life back. I'm not here to have patients come see me 3 times a week for the rest of their life. That's not the type of chiropractor I am. I'm an upper cervical chiropractor that really focuses very heavily here because a lot of the foundation of where chiropractic came from was we used to adjust all these things. Then we found out less was more. Then we actually found out no matter what happened, people always had an issue up here in their upper neck. And when we addressed that and left the rest of it alone, people got better.
Hmm.
Holy shit, what a concept. And it's not me. All I do is remove the interference and I allow your body to do the amazing healing that it's already built to do. You don't you don't tell your body to digest food. You eat food and then go do whatever the hell else you need to do. Your body takes it and does all that. You don't sit there and go, I feel like I'm getting a virus right now. I really need to. And could you? Yes. But you don't do that. Your body has an innate intelligence inside of it that controls and runs and coordinates all the functions inside of your body. Some people don't like when we use that word. It's like everyone understands this. It's like trusting your gut. It's this feeling that you get. It's the same thing of if we tried to control all the functions that our body has to do in a day, we wouldn't have time for anything else. We would barely even have time for those. Your body is a machine. It's got the systems in there to make it run. What happens is there's something interfering with those systems, and we have to remove that in order to restore and allow normal function to happen. And trust me, I used to think this was the craziest concept too. But now, after over a decade with thousands of people that we've helped, I don't think I'm crazy anymore. I think people are crazy for not going this route. But unfortunately, people hate my profession.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, chiropractors have gotten a bad rap in a lot of different ways, and I mean that could be a rabbit hole of its own. But something you shared that I just feel really called to speak up further about is advocating for yourself. And we have to be the ones to do that, right? To your point, no one cares as much as we do about our own body and health. And I think we get exhausted advocating. Like you speak up and you take in the facts and you're like, I think it might be this, and you get dismissed, or you get talked to like, oh, that's some wacky shit you're reading online, or that's some woo woo crap, or to your point, that's something some chiropractor said, right? Like
All the time.
it gets dismissed, and yet there isn't a solution. And what I'm hearing you say too, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the longer this like interference goes on, the more it kind of bleeds out into other systems.
Hmm?
So what started as probably a minor inconvenience 2, 5, 10, 15 years ago, not properly treated and figured out what the actual root was. It's now like you had a match, and then someone tossed a piece of paper on it, and
Mhm.
then we tossed it in a field somewhere, and then we put some logs on it, and now before we know it, the whole damn forest is on fire. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah. So you actually explained it perfectly because one of my explanations is if you're going to laugh at this and people listening will laugh, but this is how our system treats things a lot of times. If your house caught on fire and was burning and your alarm, your fire alarm started going off telling you that there was a problem, and if the firefighter showed up, went over to your alarm and took the battery out,
Hmm.
would it fix the issue? Most of the time, our system is focused on your pain and not your function. We're not there to, hey, we need to shut off this thing that's constantly going. That's not how we need to look at this. The problem is there's a lot of money in doing that, and there's a lot of they don't know what else to do, which is fine. But when you've reached the end, be open and willing to then share what you what other things people can do. I constantly, and I have to be very careful about this because you come at what I love and what I do. I can be very harsh and sharp back because I protect this because somebody saying some stupid shit could leave someone struggling rather than taking a chance of letting me help them.
Right.
And for me, I'm very protective of that. But I just wish people would be open. Listen, I'm not saying go to just anyone. I would not, and sorry, the joint, I would not recommend the joint. There's a guy on TikTok that just had a video blow up that he got injured by a guy. Here's the problem with the joint. Very minimal exam, no images, nothing. You're not necessarily getting the same doctor every time. And guess what? The doctors who end up in the joint sucked ass at running a business and didn't know what to do. And so you might get lucky that they sucked at a business, but they were very good at adjusting people and they're still good at what they do there. But you also might get the one that just barely got by and is now out there and they're now running this business and they have no fucking clue what they're doing and they're doing it in a dangerous way. So the guy that got injured tried to adjust him, couldn't adjust him. Hey, we'll do it again next time, but we'll just use a little bit more force. Red flag.
Hmm.
There's something fucking else going on here and we need to check. That could have prevented this guy. This guy got injured. He ended up in the hospital, burned through his savings. Like, it's a very shitty situation. But guess what the video says that he made? Don't ever go see a chiropractor. It doesn't say the fucking joint fucked me up or any of this. So then I get lumped in underneath that. And I'm like, dude, I'm with you. I think that's bullshit. It frustrates me too. I don't want to see anyone get treated that way. But that would be like going to a mechanic. They screw you over and you're like, I don't fucking go to mechanics anymore at all. They're all full of shit. So you just wait till your car falls apart and buy another one? Not a lot of us can afford that luxury. And in your body, you will never be able to afford that luxury because you get one. You get one
Right.
chance at taking care of it. So it doesn't make any sense to approach it that way. So my thing is, trust me, we talked about ChatGPT earlier. I asked ChatGPT about was there ever a case where the medical system was sued by chiropractors? And there was in 1987. There was a whole movement that the AMA, I think it was, brought against chiropractors to literally try to take down the profession. And the chiropractors won that case. They were actively trying to take them out. I'll tell you another thing. The joint is owned by medical doctors. Most people don't know that the people that are financing and running those things, not in all of them, but in some of them, are doing that. So they're like, oh, well, people are doing this, so I'm going to put money behind that because it ain't about you fucking getting better. It's about money. And I'm so careful about saying this because you coming and paying me is what supports my life, supports my family, and takes care of me. I'm aware that there's an exchange that goes on there, but I feel okay asking that because I'm aware that what I offer, I'm essentially offering if you'll give me $20 for me to give you $100. And you're like, I'll make that trade all day. Okay,
Right.
good. That's all that I'm asking for. The problem is we discount or take that away, or we're like, oh my gosh, I would never do that. It's the most dangerous thing ever. Here's the simplest way to take this back, y'all. Let's just simplify it down and look at facts. Look up how much it cost for um, your malpractice insurance for a typical medical doctor, and it can vary from, you know, 50,000 a year to a couple 100,000 to millions if you're a neurosurgeon because you're taking someone's life in your hands. And it should be because you're taking their life in your hands. You need to be protective. If you did what you thought and someone tries to come against you, you've got to be protected. But insurance doesn't play around with their money, and we know that. My malpractice insurance is under $3,000 a year, right around three, like 2 to 4. It's been somewhere in that range pretty much since I've been in practice. Why? Because what we do is not that dangerous. It's dangerous when you get connected with a dipshit. That's going to happen. There's going to be people that don't know what they're doing. But if you go to someone who knows what they're doing, I've had people show up that were red flags in my clinic. You have to go get an MRI. I will not take care of you. I will not put my hands on you. I will not
Mm.
anything until you go get this. And they got mad at me and I never saw them again. That's fine. That's another person's problem. But I was educated to see these things as red flags and to catch them, to know this is not safe for me to take care of that person yet until we rule this out. What I need people to know is that there are doctors like me that exist out there that take into account all of these things and that want to help you. And listen, I do have some docs that I work with because they are come in here themselves and they appreciate what it is that we do and they understand that. I'm trying to expand that, but it's hard because the story that's out there is these guys are freaking crazy and they'll rip your neck off and they'll kill you. Or they'll drag your head across the table, which is unfortunately, the most popular thing on TikTok. We'll just show these crazy ass adjusting videos to hopefully, I don't know, make money off of views. I have no idea. But for me, I get frustrated because that doesn't serve the purpose of what it is that we do. I'm not a doctor that cracks backs and that's of back pain. I'm a doctor of your nervous system. I want to help you improve the health and function of your nervous system because you live your life through your nervous system. And the better your nervous system is expressing, the better your life is going to be. And I know the ripple effect that that has in a household, on the kids, on the dad, on the mom, on the family around them, on the community around them when that person is feeling and healing better. Simple as that.
Everything gets better from there. I know that you share a resource. You mentioned upper cervical. What's the other C? UCC.
Yes, UCC Near Me is a page that we created with a couple of other upper cervical docs. Basically, we were all helping one another on TikTok without knowing it. And we were spending a lot of time. I mean, when I first started having videos blow up on TikTok, I wasn't having people travel yet. And people were like, hey, where can I find a doctor near me? Can you tell me where there's one here? Can you tell me where there's one here? Alabama, Missouri, Washington, California, New Jersey, New York. Seattle, like all there, it's all over the place because people are like, holy shit, this makes sense to me. I need someone. So we put together a website and we bring in doctors. Now, I wish we had a better vetting process. I'm sort of trying to work on improving that. So I'm not going to swear by everyone that's on there, but you can go to the website. It's uccnearme.com. And you can search your city and see where one is local to you and just kind of vet them out. That's another thing I always say. I will typically recommend doctors for people when we sit down and do like a telehealth, and I tell them if something feels off or you just don't like, sometimes you just don't like a person.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can sit down here and I'm like, we could have this conversation all day, and I love sitting down and talking to you. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know, the vibes are just not here. We're not
Right.
people that are in vibrationally in alignment that it makes sense. So sometimes that's going to happen. You're like, I thought he was flipping weird, or I thought he was doing this, or he didn't do any of the things that you said. Then that's okay. Reach back out. We'll find another one. We'll do what we can. But that's at least a resource that you can use to try to find someone that does work similar to mine in your area. And you can call them up and ask them questions and just vet them on what it is that they do and how it works. Look at their reviews. Look at their, do they have any other social proof? Like, I have a lot of vanity metrics, I call them on TikTok. Like, I have a large following on TikTok. The only thing I think that does is show you that I've been doing this long enough and I've done enough to build enough social credibility of this guy must be doing something. Have I made every
Yeah.
single person happy? Hell no. I wish. But for the vast majority, it's a life-changing experience that they wouldn't give up for anything. And they keep flying and traveling to come see me to make sure that they maintain that.
Dr. B is in Texas for inquiring minds. So
Yes, Dallas, Texas.
we will make sure that we have that link in the show notes as well. Uh gosh, this is such a big topic and I think we could go in so many different ways. I'd love if you'd be willing to share because sometimes we're just in our own moment, right? Like, oh, I can feel it coming on, or I'm in the middle of an attack, or I'm just feeling really defeated. What are some things that you recommend that we can do on our own when we're kind of in the midst of our own migraine episodes?
So this is perfect. And I love this because I am an advocate for being proactive with migraine rather than reactive. Most of the system tells you to wait till you have one and then we do something about it. And so you've been trained to wait and do this. We're starting to get more preventative medications that are out there that may sometimes help, but we don't have a plan in order to actually improve this. So I essentially have like five or six things that I recommend that people can do that will strengthen the health and function of your nervous system so that we could be proactive. That means we're doing these on a daily or even weekly at least basis of making sure that we're implementing these to improve the health and function of our nervous system the same way we would improve the health and function of our musculoskeletal system by lifting or working out or doing something. You want to make your body stronger. We want to strengthen your nervous system. So there's a few. The first one is cold exposure. I am a big proponent of cold exposure. The reason is I have my little wearable. It's called a Whoop that I use to track. Just so that you know, before I ever recommend things for patients or ever put it out on a video, I've tested it on myself first to see, does this even do anything? So cold exposure has been so hot and everyone's doing it. And it's like, I will tell people if it's good enough for an athlete, it's good enough for you, whether you're an athlete or not. The reason that we can use cold exposure to our benefit is the neurological benefits that you get. There's this essentially when you do it, there's going to be a few things. I'm going to talk you off the ledge. It's going to suck at first. You're going to hyperventilate. You're going to freak out. It's going to suck. That happens with a lot of things, but you're already in a place where shit sucks right now. So you have nothing to lose except for, hey, I'm going to give this a try. And I'm going to show you the like way I would prefer you do it. And I'm going to give you a little sub hack that you can do in the midst of like a really bad migraine. I actually just had an email that went out about this in a Substack post. So cold exposure. 3 to 5 minutes a day. Really, you only need three if you're doing full body exposure. So levels to it. We could do full body submersion and like a cold plunge or go to a place that's got them up to your neck. Do that for up to 3 minutes. That's really all you need. We could do that up to like 12 minutes a week. For people who are with migraine, I prefer they do it almost every day because it's going to continue to improve the health and function of your nervous system. There's a lot of stuff where we've learned physiologically what happens and what response we get in our body. You have to be careful with it. Can't do it if you're pregnant. Like I would not recommend that. I saw a lady doing that on TikTok. I'm like, don't do that. That's a bad idea. It could be safe, but I'm like, why risk that? Like I would not recommend somebody do that. But getting cold, you can do cold showers. So I'm in Texas during the summer. It's hot to do that. So we have to have a plan. We can't just suffer during the summer. So we have to have a way that we're overcoming this. But full body cold exposure, cold showers, getting your body cold will have such massive benefits when it comes to the health and function of your nervous system. That's number one. We focus on that first. There's, all the boost in the, I call it like your relaxation cocktail that comes out of it. There's all these neuropeptides and certain things that get released into our bloodstream after that happens and after we have this strong stress response. What people also don't realize is it makes you hyperventilate, so you're actually oxygenating your body better. So sometimes we're getting rid of carbon dioxide, but bringing on more oxygen. That also helps as well. You can be in a decreased oxidative state of not having enough oxygen that can be a part of why we're having migraine. So there's twofold there, but it's to not get overly complicated, get cold. Now, if you're having a migraine and you're like, what the hell do I do now? I don't feel well enough. Get a big bowl of water, fill it with ice and water, get it cold. Put both of your hands in there for as long as you can. I'm talking hold them in there till you want to cuss at me. Then pull your hands out and dip your face in it for as long as you can hold it in there. Repeat that 2 or 3 times, 4 times if you need to. What you're stimulating is what's called your mammalian dive reflex. And what it can do is take your nervous system and calm everything down. So they'll actually use this on the hospital. There was a video I saw the other day. There was a kid, they gave him too much albuterol and it caused his heart rate to spike too high. So if you overdo it, he was having issues with breathing. They gave him too much. They literally had a bucket and they were having him dunk his face in there. So you're stimulating this reflex by the cold hitting your face that calms us down. It's one of my most popular videos on TikTok. It has like 2 million views. It constantly just stays in a cycle, even though I haven't posted in forever of people like, oh, they do it. I get comments of like, holy hell, this worked. I thought you were crazy. This is ridiculous. I'm like, what a crazy concept that cold would actually work. So in the short term, that's just a little trick that we can use in order to calm things down. The number two is breath work. So I like for you to increase it, but what I always say is a couple times a day, I like 15 breaths with like a 15 to 30-second hold in between of just don't hyperventilate to where you're going to pass out. If you can only do 10, do 10. If you can only do seven, do seven. But you want to do that, then take a deep breath in and hold it, then let it out and go through that again and do like 3 cycles of that and do it like twice a day. You're depriving yourself of oxygen. And when you get stressed out, you already don't breathe very well. So we need to oxygenate your body. Your body needs oxygen. You're deprived in it. That's free and easy, and you can do it yourself. You can go to a place that has the hyperbaric oxygen chambers. You can go to the ones that even just zip you up that are only like 97%. It's still better, and you can let your body absorb oxygen. You could do that if you've got the money to spend and you want to do it. There are things that we could do outside of it, but you can just sit down and breathe for just a little bit. That's free and it's hella effective. Now, this one's going to be controversial because everyone's going to get upset that I say this, but you need to hydrate yourself, but you don't just need to drink water. That's the problem is like you're not drinking enough water. That is the ultimate. Any excuse that puts the onus on you is a red flag for the doctor. And I'm sort of getting over this red flag, beige flag, green flag sort of thing. But for this, we'll say it. It's a red flag. Oh, well, it's you. You need to lose weight. You need to sleep better. You need to cut these things out. Anything that puts the onus on you and nothing on them for the things that they've tried, that's bullshit. So hydrating is good, but we need to make sure that we're getting minerals in the water. So the one that everyone talks about, Baja Gold, Celtic sea salt, Buoy, Element. There are lots of companies that you can use. If you can't have uh, sweeteners like stevia, Buoy's great for that. Just regular table salt, but just literally take what you're drinking and put a little bit of that in there. Put it in your coffee. Put it in all the things that you drink. Like Buoy's great because it comes in these little things right here. I actually work with them. I've done a terrible job of setting up. I don't even have my code or anything live, but it's like you could take these, literally, you just squirt this into whatever you're drinking, and it's going to add minerals to it. You don't realize that through your breath at night, you're losing moisture, which has minerals in it. Through sweat, you're losing it. And through all the enzymatic reactions in your body, they require minerals that your body needs to have. So we need to give those back to your body. And guess what? When you have a migraine, do you think that you have more of those in reserve or less of those in reserve?
I'm gonna go less.
Far less. So we need to make sure that we're putting that back. So water isn't going to do jack if we're not putting that type of stuff in it, because I'm also not absorbing or taking any of that in. So that's a big one. Bonus that goes within hydration, within mineralization. Um, you need to make sure that you're taking, and this is one of those where people are going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want creatine." Creatine is actually considered a, what the heck do they call it? It's a nootropic. It's good for your brain. So most people think, well, I don't want to be a beefhead that's got these large biceps. I'm like, unless you're taking testosterone and like doing curls while you're on podcasts and Zoom meetings, and you're just like, that's not going to happen. Physiologically, your body's not going to respond that way. But creatine's been marketed in the health and fitness space, but now we're starting to realize, man, this is very important. You literally have an energy system in your body that uses creatine in order to function. There's brain benefits that we get from it. So creatine is like an added little extra bonus of you should be getting this. Make sure you get a good company, a clean one. This next one, you're going to be like, duh, sleep. So sleep is crucial. Sleep is the greatest life hack of all time. The better you sleep, the better you recover, the better you're going to feel. The problem is you go to sleep, lose consciousness, and have no idea how well you slept and don't do anything to track it. That again is where this comes in. Rule number one, have something that you're using as a wearable, at least for a short period of time, to track your sleep and to know if that's impacting your sleep. Now, we've got the ability. One of my protocols is we have sleep studies that we can do at home because when people tell me they're waking up with migraine, I think there's an apnea component to that, and we need to make sure that we rule it out and give you something other than a CPAP in order to actually fix it. So, sleep, when it comes to that, we need a protocol for sleep. Listen, you need to be a kid. You have a bedtime and you have a wake time. We thrive on systems and processes and guide rails that keep us. So, if my bedtime within a 15 to 30-minute window is around the same, I'm going to carry benefits from that. But I'll know by tracking it. I'll also know if my cold exposure is helping. I'll also know, I always tell my patients, you'll know if you need to come in if your HRV, your heart rate variability, which is a measure of nervous system health, drops dramatically. This thing knows I'm sick before I know I'm sick. Hey, your skin temperature went up last night, your respiratory rate went up, and these things, you didn't sleep very well. And I'm like, I slept the same as I've always slept. To me, it felt the same. If I didn't have this to know, I would have never known. I would have just guessed. So, you can hopefully tell by how I run my system. We don't want to guess. We want to know. And this will track so many of these other things to help you improve. You can get an Aura ring. You could do a Circle Plus ring, which is really you only wear while you sleep, but get some sort of wearable, not an Apple Watch. No. get some sort of wearable that allows you to be able to track what it is that you're doing to improve it, and then make sure we're working on our sleep. Have a time that you go to bed, have a time that you wake up, have a protocol that helps you get ready for bed, reduce the amount of bright light exposure in our house hits a certain time, and we just have all the like old school yellow bulbs that are basically everywhere, and it's like everything gets very dim and very light because the wavelength will stimulate your pineal gland and tell you it's still bright outside, it's not time to go to sleep. But if we lived outside without electricity, we would go to sleep because it's dark. Your body goes, it's dark, it's time to go to bed. Think about how well you sleep when you camp. If anyone who goes camping, you're like, gosh, I slept so good. And I went to bed at like 8:15. It was crazy. It was just dark and I just went to bed. It's like, yeah, because your brain was like, it's dark. It's time to go to bed. Another just little thing that you add in within the sleep protocol is, and I call these stacking because the next thing I'm going to talk about is grounding. So getting connected with the earth is huge. We're so disconnected from the earth. We wear shoes. We don't go outside. We don't connect with the earth. So to stack those, we can go outside, and getting direct sunlight on your face within the first like 30 minutes of waking up has been shown to be beneficial. So I can do that while I'm also letting my feet rest on the ground. So then I'm grounding. I'm telling you, go search the studies that they did on grounding mats. It's insane. I was like, grounding mats, like I'm getting them. I have to work on getting it set up, but in our resting suites that we use, I'm gonna have grounding mats in there because I think it'll have a profound benefit. Connecting yourself with the earth is big, and you can go hug a tree if you're a tree hugger. That's fine. Just connect and touch and get in touch with earth without shoes on. Like take your shoes off. Um, but the sleep one of like setting your circadian rhythms, it's like you could do both, get exposure, and then the next one was grounding, getting connected with the earth, like exchanging that charge. Like the earth has a charge, you have a charge, everything has a vibration and an energy. Reset yours by reconnecting with the earth. Super simple and easy. And then movement. I know you feel like shit, but you have to move your body. And my rule is simple: 30 minutes a day of walking, whether it's 3 times for 10 minutes, 2 times for 15 minutes, 1 time for 30 minutes. And no, you don't have to do it on the days that you feel like shit. I get it. I'm not going to make you. But movement is important. It's crucial. Your body needs it. It's a great neurological reset. There are so many benefits that we get from it. Walking, it's so, I'm not telling you to go do CrossFit or do a HIIT class or do Peloton. Just move your body. It's so beneficial for you. It's literally, so those are my things: cold, breath work, hydration with minerals, sleep, grounding, and movement. If we can implement those things, you can strengthen the hell out of your nervous system and decrease the frequency of your migraines.
That's amazing.
Now, if we have an issue that's going on that's going to get in the way, it's going to inhibit the results. So don't think I've done all that stuff and that's bullshit. Don't just automatically discount things because you tried everything. There could be the underlying neurological component that's impacting it, that once you get that fixed, then we're like, holy hell, these things are amazing. Because I do these things.
Then your body can start to heal itself.
And healing takes time. We can't rush it. There's no
Yeah.
Amazon Prime for your healing. It doesn't exist. It's not there.
I'll tell you what, if you could invent that, like, I think you're going to be a gajillionaire.
I think I have. It just takes longer than what people want. It's not Amazon Prime.
That's fair. Dr. B, I adore the work that you do and the way in which you do it. I think it's just really refreshing to talk to somebody that gets it, that understands, that listens in the space. Just to be heard immediately sets the tone for the type of relationship. So you take patients from all around the world. People fly in so people can come see you. So what's the best way, the best place to connect with you so people can learn more about you? And we'll make sure we put that resource if people want to find somebody like you in their area as well.
Yeah, so the UCC Near Me website is the one that you can use to search for some doc near you, just uccnearme.com. My website is the specificrichardson.com. And then there's a schedule page that you can use there. So you can submit your information to me, name, email, tell me a little bit about what's going on. Let me know the situation. My office phone number is on my TikTok page, 972-454-9362. You can reach out to me directly, and it's me that you're getting. It comes to my Google Voice that's on my phone. Um, I'm in the process of a holy hell, I need to hire someone. So not always are you going to get me, but a lot of times you get me. Like people laugh when I send them a selfie because they're like, who am I even talking to? Who is this? I'm like, hey, it's me. I just take a picture. I'm like, it's me. Like, they're like, I didn't think I was actually going to get to talk to you. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's important. Like, I'm who you're working with.
That was my experience too. You were like, send me a text, and I was like, okay. And my immediate thought was like, oh, this is a system or something, right? I mean, it's just the way you have 600,000 followers on TikTok. I assume that there was probably a barrier, right?
I don't know how I do
And
it.
you sent me a selfie back, and I was like, well, shit, this guy is legit gonna listen. And then we hopped on the phone, and you walked around Target, and the way I was remembering as we were talking, I'm like, the way that we came across, I was feeling completely defeated. I had had
Mm.
another neurological appointment that went nowhere. They just wanted to put more things into my body, and I made a TikTok, and I tagged you, and you answered. You answered, and I think that that's one of the very simple but profound ways that you make an impact. So thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for spending this time with us today. We'll make sure that everyone can find you. I also need to know, what does the word gutsy mean to you?
The word gutsy. Hmm. I love this. This is fun. Gutsy to me is, I mean, we've I think touched on it multiple times within this episode of I think there's a intuition that you have within your body that's telling you that it's this pull that you feel like. I feel like life every once in a while just gives you these like pulls and these feelings that you get. And I think gutsy is being so in tuned with that that you're like, I'm going to do that. I think gutsy is both things. I think it's a feeling, but I think gutsy also shows that there has to be action within it because in order to be gutsy, gutsy is this like description of like, I was, everyone can describe it this. I was gutsy enough to do this. I was gutsy enough to ask her on a date or to reach out to them or to text this person or to like, gutsy is such a beautiful, like, carries this, like, it was willing to have, like, I was whether I was afraid or scared or nervous or whatever it was, I said, fuck it. And I did it anyway.
Probably like you, I have tried just about everything and then some to get rid of these damn migraines. They've really affected my quality of life, and I'm always willing to try some new things. I think the one that I'm going to try the next time that I feel one coming on is the ice bowl, like putting your hands in the ice and then putting your face in the ice. I don't like to be cold, but I don't like migraines more. So I'm really curious to hear which method or methods that you are going to incorporate into your world. Shoot me a message. I am on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. You can find me using @thatlauraora. And as always, until I see you next time, stay gutsy.